Hi Tamal, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks, Ishan.
This is the last show of the year, and your column was a perfect year ender talking about three C's: the credit, the CBDC, and the cryptocurrency. Now, I would like to start with CBDC because you asked this question to the governor as well. What is the future of CBDC in general public transactions? And won't it just stay a currency for enthusiasts?
Yeah, cynics are saying that. Why do I shift from normal UPI to CBDC? What do I get there? But I think it's a currency of the future. Let's not talk about how CBDC would fare in 2023. I think we need to talk about CBDC 2024, 25, 26, a few years down the line, because this is not happening only in India. It's a global movement. Initially, I think it was a bit of optics also to prevent the enthusiasm surrounding cryptocurrencies that's how it come up. But CBDC is a very different animal. It's nothing to do with crypto. It's just a currency. And you mentioned about, I asked that question to governor at the Business Standard BFSI Summit last week. Yes, and there he mentioned the two things which he had been emphasizing on. It's essentially it's a cash. It's as good as cash. There are other benefits such as Reserve Bank of India's cost of printing money will dramatically go down if you and me shift to this, and the cross-border exchanges, currency transfer, etc., also become swifter and much cheaper. So, but at the end of the day, I would not like to believe. I don't believe that it will take off just in a jiffy, and you and me, everybody will rush to have CBDC. No, it's a currency of the future.
Now, it's interesting that you mentioned cryptocurrencies because in your discussion at the BFSI event, crypto was a main headline point that everybody carried. Now, you mentioned cryptocurrencies in your column also and quite succinctly mentioned the risks emanating from them. Isn't it better to treat them as assets rather than outright ban them?
Well, it is not an asset, but because there's nothing underlying in it. No? So that's the problem. It's neither a currency nor an asset. Because when you invest in gold, when you invest in real estate and the stocks, there is some underlying value. But here, it's nothing but something which is driven entirely by speculation. Internationally now, there have been sort of concerted efforts to contain crypto. But governor made a very critical statement. He says that what's happening elsewhere in the other side of the world, we don't care about that. In India, we don't want crypto. It needs to be banned. Finance ministry, the government, has had a sort of ambivalent approach till now. There's some kind of tax has been imposed in the last budget. We need to see going forward how ministry treats it. But as of now, RBI continues with his stance, and I don't see there will be any change, a big no to crypto, because this is a threat to the financial sector stability.
Third C we move on to, which is the credit part. Right. And rather than looking back as to what has happened to credit, let's look forward. What are your expectations with credit growth now that interest rates are quite up in India?
Well, credit growth, as we speak, around close to 18%, which is pretty high. It's a decadal high credit growth. A lot of pent-up demand. That's what we are seeing. At the same time, will it continue to grow at this level? And will the banks have enough ammunition to support the credit growth, because deposit growth is still lagging behind? So that's the question we need to ask. If you talk to the bankers, they are saying they are pretty happy the way there has been credit demand, and it's not that they are over enthusiastic. That's what they claim, that we are not pushing down loan through people's throat. So bankers are pretty hopeful the credit growth will continue, and deposit growth is slowly catching up. It's still, there's a difference, but banks have been raising their deposit rates. So they are expecting that deposit growth will pick up, and they will be able to continue with the kind of growth. But if you look at the micro level, there are a bulk of it is going to the retail sector. Banking system needs to keep a close watch on the trajectory of the credit and where the credit is growing.
Can't let you go without discussing interest rates. You've been bang on with your forecasts, and we would like to know, actually, our viewers also, as to what is your forecast for the coming year. Are we expecting rates to go beyond 7 or 8% this year?
No, I don't think beyond 7 and 8%, but rates will go up. How much? I think anything between 25 and 50 basis point. Next rate hike will happen. It's not will. The next rate hike may happen in February, immediately after the budget. So there is no escape from another dose of hike, which is probably 25 basis point. And then there could be a temporary pause by RBI, wait and watch. So I would like to believe RBI will pause after a 25 bips hike, and then it will be open for probably another 25 bips.
Another interesting topic as we speak is Chanda Kochhar. What signal does this episode send for the market?
Well, I think it's a surprise and shock. Surprise for us, the watchers, because this case is pretty old. CBI filed the FIR in January 2019. Now it's almost 3 years now. Had it been done 2 years back, even a year back, I would have understood that yes, it's sticking to a logical conclusion. But now, after 3 years, or after close to 3 years, has the investigative agency come across certain new information which can actually establish the culpability of the banker? Because in this case, in the financial sector, if you see the record of the investigative agencies is pretty poor.
Will it affect the credit offtake in the market? Because it will hurt sentiments, of course.
Definitely, it will hurt sentiments, but I don't think it will because it's an old case. As I said, there's a shock and surprise, but it's not new. It'll be business as usual. I don't see any impact on the credit uptake.
Got your point. Thank you. Thanks a lot for your time this week. We hope to see you next week again. Thank you.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
If you like this video, share it and subscribe to Business Standard. For more news, views and insights, log on to www.business-standard.com. Do also follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram and LinkedIn.
I am the blue of the limitless sky. I am the inspiration that led success soar high. I will achieve, I will fly high. I am the I in SBI.
I'm backed by the nation's trusted bank, SBI, the banker to every Indian.